Welcome to the Alcohol-Free Lifestyle Podcast, where you learn to live a life of health, wealth, love, and happiness. Welcome to the show. I am James Swanwick. Today, we are welcoming back a former client of ours by the name of Justin Rounds, who is 46 years old. He's a software sales executive for a large technology company in Denver, Colorado. He has a wife and two young sons, aged 12 and 10. And as we're recording this, he is 2.5 years alcohol-free. 2.5 years alcohol-free. If you're listening right now, can you imagine even being 2.5 months alcohol-free if you've never attempted that before? And Justin and I are about to have a conversation about his journey, which includes him stopping for a considerable amount of time, but then the slippery slope getting him and returning to drinking. And then he quit again. And then he returned to drinking and the slippery slope got him. And then he quit again. And now he is 2.5 years alcohol free. So you might be listening and can really relate to that stop, start, where you stop for 30 days and then you start again, or you stop for 2 weeks and then you start again. How do we make it stick? How does it finally get to stick? We're going to find out in this conversation with Justin. Justin, great to have you here, mate. It's amazing to see your progress and catch up with you.
Yeah, it's great to be here. Good to talk with you again, James.
Just tell us a little bit about you and your life and what you do and where you live, and then we'll get into some nitty-gritty stuff here.
Yeah, you got it. Yeah, I'm 46 years old. I guess 46 and a half. Live in Denver, Colorado, the south suburbs, and I raised two wild and crazy young boys, 12 and 10 years old, that are very involved in sports. So that takes up most of my time. I just love the outdoors and being active and really just kind of leaning into everything that Colorado has to offer.
And you and I first met all the way back in 2020, a couple of weeks before the pandemic hit and the lockdowns took place. So that's all the way back in January 2020. And at that stage, you joined our 90-day stop drinking process, and you were successful for a time. But just take us back to then. You remember that time just as the pandemic was hitting.
Yeah.
Why did you enroll in our Project 90 program then? Why did you come to us wanting to stop drinking? What was going on in your life back then?
Yeah. I'd say, I kind of, as I made my way through my career, I really latched on to my career as my identity, and, it really became kind of a workaholic type situation where I really kind of burned myself out from, I'd say, like 2014 to 2019. I was just traveling quite a bit on the road, doing my best. I was a top sales rep at the company I was at the time. And I could just kind of feel like the energy starting to wane, really, and kind of hit that wall. And knew I needed to do something. I came from a sales culture that's very much in drinking and, entertaining clients and things like that. And being on the road all the time was very stressful, raising two young boys and everything that comes along with the family. And I just realized that I needed to do something. And, I started doing some research online, found you, and we had an initial call, and it was really just great to connect with you. And I just felt like it was a match, and wanted to, kind of step into that.
What was the stress and anxiety or the personal circumstances that were going on at that time? What were the damaging consequences you identified from your lifestyle at that point?
Yeah, a lot of work stress. I had a new leader kind of step in. And we were not a match at all. As I said, I had a lot of success in my company, and he came in and overnight tried to essentially, revamp my style, which did not work for me at all. So I lasted about a quarter underneath of him and started to look elsewhere. But prior to that, I had just, like I said, I really kind of wrapped my identity around how hard I worked. I really had this inner drive to prove myself. And, after, a good 3-4 years of, traveling on the road, selling software and meeting with customers and things like that, I kind of just started to feel like I had had enough and was looking for something new. And the stress and anxiety of that work relationship, coupled with stress and anxiety of raising a family and everything that goes as you're trying to figure that out. I think it just kind of came to a head. And I just, I always had kind of a complex relationship with alcohol, my family background, my friends, my social relationships, things like that. And, I just felt deep inside that I needed to make a change and that I really wasn't in alignment with myself. I really felt, I guess, out of homeostasis, completely out of whack, and I just could not get back on track. My vibe was really bad. Like my frequency that I was giving off was really not really who I was. So I really wanted to fix that.
I recall that you, and this is going back 4 years ago now, more than 4 years ago, but I recall that you felt like you were in some form of, I think you described it as breakdown or crisis. In fact, I seem to recall you joining one of our coaching calls from the hallway or like the stairs of a building or something. Is this ringing a bell? Like maybe you were in the fire escape section of a building joining a call. Does that ring a bell?
Yeah, it does. Yeah. I was in a pretty bad spot. I was really relying on alcohol to cope and really hide a lot of the pain I was feeling in that time. And I think I do remember taking a call and kind of being a little bit embarrassed after the call because I think I was, a little tipsy during that time and, was trying to get a handle on it and was kind of at my, the end of my rope. And, I remember doing all the research, about your program and everything like that. And it really, it seemed like everything that I was looking for. And, I didn't know if this would help me or not, but I just felt that if I just leaned in a little bit and had the courage to take a step, that I could get on top of it. And,
and you seemingly did.
Yeah, I did. Yeah. Went full force into the program. I really wanted to make some changes. Was a little scared. I didn't really know how we were going to do it. I didn't know if the program would work. I had, been in some other kind of recovery type programs and things like that just did not fit with me at all. And so I was real excited to get started with you guys and really leaned in hard. And I would say I was pretty apprehensive and maybe, kind of passive in the beginning, but I felt like I kind of emerged as a leader as the program came on and really helped some of the other individuals that were just getting started.
And how did that impact your wife and boys during that first 90-day break that you had from alcohol?
Yeah, I would say, they were definitely proud of me. They were encouraging of me. But it was also kind of maybe kind of a silent, more lonely battle of my own. I didn't share too much with them, but I could definitely see that they saw the changes that I had made. And, if you look at what I looked like when I started versus where I ended up, that was certainly something that they could see as well, the transformation.
Yeah. So you went 93 days.
Yeah.
And by the way, you did this during the pandemic when there were lockdowns. So good on you, I guess, right? Like at a time, at least for the first 90 days of the 93 days of the pandemic, right? You were alcohol free. So was that, you think, particularly challenging because you were at home, locked down? Do you think that made your efforts to stop drinking even harder, or did it make it easier? What was your experience, do you think?
Yeah, I think it was kind of divine timing. I know a lot of people really turned to the bottle during the pandemic. And for me, I had a lot of gratitude around taking a break during that time. I mean, you're just at home anyway, you're not being social, which is kind of, I would say the positive around alcohol is, they try to, market it as something social and, bringing people together. And there was really none of that. So then it would, that would have been a double down on the negativity of, kind of how I was using alcohol and, where it could have gone from there. So I'm very thankful that it wasn't like that. I think it made it maybe a little bit easier because of that. I really relied on alcohol for social situations and, it was very much tied to my social groups and friendships. So I think that kind of helped me a little bit. And, I was definitely, grateful to have the others to kind of bounce off what they were feeling during that time as well. Because it was just so helpful, the sense of community.
So how did you go 93 days and then start drinking again? What was going on in your mind? Like you
Yeah.
graduated our official program in 90 days. You went 3 more days. Do you recall what you were thinking or feeling on day 93 that made you drink again? And what was that drink and where were you? What were the circumstances?
Yeah. Yeah. I guess I kind of felt that fear of missing out a bit, hearing about how much people were drinking during COVID. I was living in Chicago at the time, which is just, really bad weather. And when I finished the program, it was May, so things were getting nicer out. I had a friend that had a lake house who had invited us out for the weekend, and it was Memorial Day. And I don't know, I kind of guess I got swept up in wanting to have that old life back, feeling like, oh, okay, look at, I proved to myself, I've done 90 days. I'm on top of this. I don't have that big of a problem again. This wasn't something like where I was like a gutter drunk or anything like that, or got DUIs or any type of trouble or anything like that. I felt like, okay, I took a good solid break. I got this, and I can go back, and I told my friend, I'm not gonna turn into a werewolf, if I have this one beer, right? That obviously turned into more and more beers, but yeah, I guess I felt that maybe Project 90 was something that I needed at the time, but not something that I guess I had gone headlong full on into, as far as like choosing it as a lifestyle moving forward. It was more like, okay, let's try this. Let's see where I'm at. I got this. Let's go back. And, we all know how that goes. It eventually creeps back up on you. And I think even maybe kind of takes it to another level of negativity.
And is that what happened? Did the slippery slope get you, and then you found your consumption increasing again? Was it to the same level as it was before in the beginning? Did you try to do moderation where you were like, oh, I'll only drink on weekends, and that felt like, what happened on that slippery slope?
Yeah, I think I went into it being like, hey, you've proven to yourself that you can do this. Let's just take it easy. All through my life growing up, with my family history, and I've always kind of been cautious around alcohol to a point until, I don't know, the stopper just came off, and then I would just go wild. But yeah, I went into it with an intention around moderation, and I just kind of noticed it, and I was just a beer drinker. So it wasn't like anything like hard alcohol where, I could see it like inching back up, but I just noticed I would gravitate towards higher ABV, IPAs and things like that. And it became not about the social anymore. It became about how quickly can I get to where I want to be. Right. And, after a couple more months of that, I would reflect back and be like, man, I had a handle on this thing. It felt so good to be alcohol free, and now here I am stuck in this mire again of the trap. Really, it felt, I felt trapped. I felt like a prisoner to it eventually. And, so that eventually caught up with me. I just felt super unhealthy, noticed the changes in sleep, noticed weight gain, noticed the energy levels dropping, and just really wanted to capture the magic that I had felt the first time around in P90.
So you reached out to us and then you re-enrolled.
I did.
And then how was the second time different from the first time in your experience, if you can recall?
Yeah, I felt, having the confidence of the first time under my belt, I felt like I could go back into this. I was really looking forward to the health benefits and how good I could feel again. During that second Project 90, I felt like a leader. I felt like, someone that had proven to themselves that they could do this. And I kind of knew what was coming in terms of like maybe with the withdrawal symptoms, or, just the first month I always felt was pretty hard, but then I started to kind of, plateau and then start to see some upgrades after that. So I felt really good about I guess, I don't know, being someone that could be a guide for others in the program and things like that. So I really kind of focused in on that. But we moved from Chicago to Denver during that time, which really ratcheted up the stress. And I found that to be pretty challenging to get through. So I did complete the second Project 90, the 90 days, and even went a month and a half longer just on my own. But with the stress, found myself kind of white knuckling it, not really having the tools, or maybe really what I think of as like the reasoning or the North Star to keep me motivated and going. And with all the goodbye parties and things like that, and, saying goodbye to my friends and the social constructs that were built around alcohol with a lot of those people, I just kind of fell back into it. We went to a Cubs game one time in Chicago, our last Cubs game before we left. And I just kind of made the decision there in the stands. We're in the bleachers. It's a beautiful sunny day, spring day. And I'm like, screw it. I'm just going to go grab a beer, and I kind of felt disappointed in myself for doing that. My kids were there and everything like that, and they were questioning it. My wife was kind of questioning it and everything like that. But I don't know. For some reason, I just gave in because of, I think, the constructs of where I was at and what I felt like I should be doing, which is drinking beer at a baseball game.
Yeah. You said that your wife and your boys were questioning it. Was that after you'd got the beer, or did you talk to them saying that's what you were thinking of doing and they were like, no, don't do it, and then you went and did it anyway? Or like, what was...
No, I just went and got it.
And then you came back to your seat with a beer, and who said what first, and what did they say?
My wife kind of just was like, really? Like, you're going to do this? And I'm like, we're at a Cubs game, I don't know. I kind of felt, again, like, I don't know if it was like arrogance or whatnot that I had completed the program and felt like I was on top of it, but I just felt like it wasn't going to be a problem. And, I think that was the hardest part for me, is getting over the, kind of the foundations that are in place socially and culturally was the toughest part for me. I'd always just associated being at a Cubs game with drinking beers and being with my friends and doing all that. And I guess I just wanted that familiarity again.
Yeah. And so what happened then over the next weeks and months?
Yeah, we had, like I said, a lot of going away parties, going to see friends before we took off and things like that. And, alcohol was always just a part of it. And I just kind of felt, even though I felt I needed to be more in alignment by removing alcohol from my life, it just seemed, for whatever reason in that time, like the easier path to just not have to explain that away with all the other emotions and stress swirling around of the big move and knowing I wouldn't see these people for a while. So unfortunately, I gave in, and nothing crazy in terms of behavior, but again, just reintroducing that in my life. Again, notice the sleep, the energy, the weight gain, irritability, not being there, not being the best dad for my kids. I just, I noticed that, again, ratchet up over into the fall. We moved out here to Denver. Denver's known for all its great microbrews and all that stuff. I kind of felt like I was missing out if I didn't have, the ability to, dabble back into that little world and all that. But, I just, we got into the fall and I just noticed how bad my sleep was, and I couldn't make any gains. I felt like this to-do list of all these things that I wanted to do was just piling up behind my head, and I could never get ahead. And I knew what the problem was. And I think it was sometime like in November, I had like an Apple Watch on, and like my heart rate spiked to like 175 beats per minute or whatever. I don't know what the stats are, but it was out of control, and it really scared me. And I just kind of made a vow to myself. I'm like, okay, when the new year comes, I'm going to really work on this again. And, I need to be the best dad for my kids. That's the most important thing. You've done this a couple of times. You've seen how good you can feel. Let's really just set your North Star, set your intention, and set where you want to go and make it happen as a lifestyle choice this time. I really just felt that the third time was a charm. And, working with your coaches and things like that really, gave me the support I needed to make it a lasting change.
It sounds like the first two times it wasn't really a lifestyle change for you. It sounds to me, at least, the way you're expressing it as that this is something you need to do, like you need to stop, you have to stop, but you were still participating through the lens of, under normal circumstances, I would choose to drink. It's just I really just can't do it right now. And so you got to day 93 in the first attempt, and like maybe you felt like a prisoner, and all prisoners want to break free of prison, right? And so the drinking became the freedom. Whereas everything that we're coaching.
Video pause here. I don't know if you can hear me.
Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. The video had just paused there for a second. A little bit of a lag. Sorry about that.
Yeah. And I think just to finish my thought there. Yeah. Sorry to the listener. I think we just had a little bit of a technical lag there, but we're back now. And then it sounds like the same thing happened again. When you were about 4.5 months into being alcohol-free on the second run, because you're at the baseball game, the sun's going down. And again, your brain is associating drinking attractively packaged poison, in this case, beer, is fun, and not drinking beer is depriving you of your fun. You're at this beautiful baseball game, the sun's going down, you're with your family. Oh, of course. Drinking poison then will accentuate that fun. And so therefore, maybe it was easy for you to choose consuming it, even though, the consequences came. But then if I was hearing you correctly, the third time you said the word lifestyle. And that was interesting because you didn't say the word lifestyle about the first 2 attempts you made. You said lifestyle on this third and hopefully final attempt. So just tell me a little bit about the lifestyle choice that you made when you began your third attempt.
Yeah, seeing how good I'd felt the previous 2 times, it just took me a while to get, I guess, for my mind to get there. Like I said, I needed it the first 2 times. That third time, second and third time, I really wanted it. I wanted it for myself. And I think that that's the differentiator. No one can tell you to go alcohol free. It's got to come from within. And I had seen the benefits and I was like, that's where I want to be, So I really thought of it more in that long term. And, it's a little scary to think sometimes, if you think of the rest of your life and if you take it in that chunk, but I'm just like, I'm just going to take one day at a time. I'm going to take little baby steps. And the phrase that I always continue to think of was called stacking wins. So I'd see 1 win per day and I'd take a little penny and I'd put it in a little cup. And by the end of the 90, 100 days, you'd see this, you'd see the progress, it's just like a little marker or a counter of what I'd accomplished. And I'd journal, I'd talk with people and I'd see the wins and really saw how the lifestyle choices that I had made were impacting my life in a positive way. And didn't expect it to happen overnight, but just kind of focused on the little positive incremental wins that I was able to create each day. And then just kind of focusing in on that and kind of seeing where I could take it.
Got it.
Yeah. And really that North Star for me, is my family. It's like, I want to show up the best I can for my family, for my sons, really. My father drank quite a bit. I'd seen some behavior from him growing up that, I was starting to repeat, and I just wanted to change and break that cycle. I wanted to really, set a positive role model for them. And that's really what keeps me going more than anything is just, how can I make my sons proud of me?
Mm. Yeah. You've alluded to your father a couple of times. So what were the circumstances around your father's drinking habits?
Yeah, my dad was, he drank Jack Daniels every night, quite a bit. And, that was a bit of a bond between us. Me not drinking Jack Daniels, but he would like to sit on his back patio and relax. This is what he would call it. And, he'd sit there and, he was, kind of a very solitary guy. He really liked his alone time. And I think I would see him there reflecting and, whatever was on his mind, work or, what have you. And I would always sit down and have a beer with him. And that was a way we really bonded. So I kind of knew I would never be able to tackle kind of being alcohol free until we didn't have that any longer. He died a couple years ago. He actually died right before Project 90. I guess I didn't cover that the first time around, which really kind of caused me to go full force into it. So that was another contributing factor. And I just really wanted to kind of break the cycle. Grandfather, uncles, cousins, everyone's kind of had an issue with alcohol on that side of the family. And I really just wanted to break that.
Yeah. From what you understand about alcohol and, say, an alcohol use disorder, are you familiar with what the chances are of someone, let's say, inheriting an alcohol use disorder because of the genealogy of their parents or grandparents? And if you don't know, that's fine. I'm just curious if you are aware.
I'm not aware of what it would be. My guess would be around 50, 60%, something like that.
Yeah, so it's 50% actually. There's a 50% increased rate of someone having an alcohol use disorder if their father or mother or grandfather or grandparents had an alcohol use disorder, which is interesting. And that's according to the National Institute of Alcohol Abuse and Alcoholism. But what's really interesting is that what do you do with the other 50%? Right, 50%, you get the gene that gives you an increased risk, an increased risk of developing an alcohol use disorder. But what we now learn about what's called epigenetics, and epigenetics is how we can change the expression of our genes through lifestyle choices, behaviors, is incredibly powerful and empowering, I would submit, because now with improved science and understanding about how the body works and how our genes work, it's almost now, I would submit, a lazy man's excuse to say, oh, my fate is sealed because my dad drank heavily and my uncle and my aunts and my blah, 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 because it only accounts for 50% of it. There's still that other 50% of living a life of appreciation instead of expectation, of physical activity, of eating right, nutrition. You've referenced sleep many times, of having a great present relationship with your wife and your two boys, as you seem to have, of being present and having a positive mindset. So, and I say lazy man's excuse not to be critical of those who are using that excuse. It's just, if we really break it down and look at it logically, while it may not be our fault that we inherited an increased chance of an alcohol use disorder, it is now our responsibility about what to do about it. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah. As part of this journey, I've kind of really found some spiritual aspects to myself, a bit of a spiritual awakening. And I honestly feel like I've been chosen in my family lineage to break this. I really feel that deep inside. Like, here I have the control, I have the power. This could be my cross to bear in this lifetime is, maybe this is, other people have other afflictions or diseases or accidents or unfortunate things happen to them. And maybe this is just what I'm here to tackle in this lifetime. And if I can set that example for my sons, because, both my side and my wife's side both have issues when it comes to alcohol, that I can set them up for success and in a way that kind of helps me, I guess, my family legacy, which I feel very strongly tied to in making successful.
The legacy is huge. I love that. Yeah, you're really breaking the cycle. I think you said the family cycle.
Yeah, I think there's some, generational family trauma that, transcends and through behaviors and maybe through genes or epigenetics, like as you said. And I feel like I have the power and the ability to break that. And that really keeps me going. Like, I mean, I saw the trajectory I was headed in on, and I would just be heartbroken if my sons took that trajectory.
Mm. Yeah, I get that. And your sons are 12 and 10 right now. So I guess they're always at a susceptible age, but they're watching you, they're observing you. And at some point, if they haven't already, they're going to mirror you and your behaviors and your actions and your values and your morals, right? I'm sure you're acutely aware of that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I want to instill what I feel is right for them, so they can develop in the best way. And, it's a tough world out there. I want them to have the best chance for success. And, I want them to be leaders. I want them to, be looked up to because they are so special.
Mm. And so how's life for you now? You're 2.5 years alcohol free. Third time was a charm for you, it seems.
Yeah.
How's life now?
It's great. Never been better. Honestly. I mean, it is, I never thought I could say that. I thought I'd always be kind of hanging on a little bit. Being alcohol free is what I call my differentiator. It makes me different than everybody else. I feel powerful. I feel energetic. I sleep great. I do yoga 3 to 4 times every week. In the mornings, 6 a.m. hot yoga sets me up. I found meditation. I found breath work. I'm able to surf again. One of the things that really woke me up to the whole, wanting to come into your program the first time around was I went to San Diego with my family where I used to live and, surf for years. And I went to this surf break and I found myself just not being able to do it at like 42 years old. And it just gutted me. I couldn't believe that I had gotten so out of shape and had no energy for my passion, which was surfing, which really kind of gave me a lot of purpose when I was younger. And I just remember being so down on myself. And, now because I'm alcohol free and I'm working on myself, my wife is gracious enough to let me go do these solo surf trips that I love to do. And, I make little movies for my sons and show them how to surf and all that. And I don't know if I've ever surfed better in my life, actually. I'm down 28 pounds, something like that from where I was previously, which definitely helps when you need all the, the lightness of the body to be able to float on the board, on the water, so that helps. And, being able to do that and kind of hold those surf trips out there as like kind of a carrot on the stick for all the work that I'm doing is really rewarding. So, just loving that and, having the energy to go biking, hiking, paddleboarding, and just staying active in this great, beautiful place that I'm so blessed to live within here in Colorado with all the sunshine has just been a blessing. It's been really great.
Incredible. How many pounds did you say that you've lost overall?
I would say I was consistently around like 205 and now I'm at 175.
Wow. That's a lot.
Yeah.
175.
Yeah,
so 30 pounds you dropped. That's incredible.
At one point it was 216 during
pounds.
COVID, which I was actually 216 during like height of my, I guess out of shape period. I guess it was the winter following COVID, after New Year's and all that stuff. So I guess even a little bit more, but yeah, I really feel in my body, I feel like where I am, where I need to be. I couldn't live with myself being so far out of, physical alignment as well. That was something that really pushed me.
Have you had any experiences of people who haven't seen you for a while, seeing you and commenting on your transformation, your physical transformation initially, and then possibly your energetic transformation?
A lot. Yeah, it happens a lot. I saw an old work friend a couple of years ago. He's like, man, how old are you now? I'm like, I think I was like 45 at the time or 44. And he's like, man, your skin looks so good. Like, you don't even look old or anything. I'm like, thank you. I don't drink anymore, and, he didn't either. But he was shocked because I think what I'd been putting my body through, really, you could see it. That last time around, I saw a picture of myself and I'm like, that's just not me. And, I don't look like that anymore. My face isn't puffy and I just feel more myself. last summer we had some friends I hadn't seen in over a year, and she was like, "Oh my God, you're like a completely different person. Not only like physically, but like your energy." And that just made me feel so good. You know, for a long time, I've had some, deep seated things I think inside me that, I've been trying to kind of purge out and get rid of. And for people to actually kind of see that is really, really cool.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's incredible. You know what's interesting? I just put your email address into my Gmail because you and I I'm looking back here, you and I started corresponding all the way back in, well, it looks like you did our 30-day challenge in November of 2019, and then you joined us, as you said, in March of 2020 or close to when the pandemic was going down. But what's interesting is that the photo of you in your Gmail email address is still an earlier version of you. Did you know that? And so I'm looking at it now, and you look different to how I'm seeing you right now.
Okay, that's good.
Did you know that? Like, so in the profile photo of your email, there's a picture of you which looks like you've got something around, like you're in Hawaii or something.
Yeah,
like a lei. You've got a lei around your shoulders. Yeah, it looks like you were carrying a few more pounds in that photo.
Yeah, that was my company. That was a top performers club trip in Maui. And kind of how I dealt with the pain. I used to actually have a little saying on my whiteboard that said, "No sleep till Maui." And that was my motivational mantra to be one of the top reps to get there for that trip. And unfortunately, to get there, the cost was my health via drinking, driving around the Midwest, meeting with customers and clients and partners and things like that. And, alcohol was always involved. So even though I was kind of at the top of my game there, behind the scenes, there was some negative behavior.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. I'm going to share my screen with you so you can see it.
I've actually probably got a better before and after picture I can share with you now.
Yeah, have a look what I'm looking at, Justin. You see that?
Yeah.
Let me see if I can pull up the photo. Just for our listener, just go ahead and explain what you see there in yourself.
Yeah,
and you'd be about what, the 25, 30 pounds heavier in this photo that I'm looking at?
Yeah, I'd say probably 20, 30 pounds larger. And I was training for a marathon at that time too. So it was really tough. You couldn't see the progress, right? So yeah, I mean, I'm a completely different person now. I mean, that was 2017. So yeah, I don't love that version of myself. It was fine. I kind of think I needed it, my behaviors and what I did in terms of being a workaholic and coupling that with alcohol to kind of get through the pain and maybe the monotony or the, just the have to of getting the work done. Wasn't great. I was just an incredibly stressed out mess at that time. So it just feels so good to kind of be where I am now and be able to look back on that as something I really conquered and got through.
You look considerably younger in this version of you. There you look kind of puffy and middle-aged. I think that's the word. And even though, you're 46 and you actually are middle-aged, you don't look it. You look much younger, like the version that you just described, the surfer, the energetic, the guy's doing 4 yoga sessions a week. You know what I mean? You can see it in you.
Yeah. I mean, I feel younger. I mean, I feel like I've really turned back the clock, or at least I'm standing still as everyone else gets older. Not really, but it really, it's amazing. You remove that substance from your life and it's like a fountain of youth. It really just allows you to, accomplish everything physically, mentally, get everything off your checklist and accomplish all the things that you want to do, which I think ultimately just kind of compounds on itself and drives you forward. It becomes kind of a flywheel of positivity that can really, I think, propel you into the second half of your life, which is what I found. And I don't plan on going back at all anymore. This is who I am now. I do feel a little bit on autopilot with not drinking. Like, it doesn't bother me. I don't crave. I don't feel like I'm missing out in any way, shape, or form. And it really, I would say, stimulates growth. I'm constantly looking for new things, new challenges, new ways that I can grow and learn. And that's really what I focus on now.
Yeah, wonderful. I love it. Well, my congratulations. And thank you so much for sharing your journey. I mean, it's funny, isn't it? Like you share your journey with what feels like ease. But I know that was very different from the first time that we met all the way back in 2020, where it was probably felt like a crisis at times. And maybe you didn't want people to know that you were stopping drinking. But look at you now. Here you are 4 and a bit years later, and you're being interviewed on a public-facing podcast sharing your story. Isn't that a remarkable transformation in and of itself?
It is, yeah. And I think in a way, just sharing this story helps me. It solidifies and brings it into reality. And, here I am, just your average, working dad. I'm sure there's plenty of other people out there that have had these thoughts or are looking for a way. And I mean, I'm living proof that, you can kind of break old habits or, at least get out of the constructs that might be keeping you stuck, and find a new way forward. And for me, if I could help, one other person, that helps keep me going, and that's what I really get out of a lot of this. That's why I really wanted to come on here and share, just because I know this is something that a lot of people are kind of silently going through. And here you have the perfect foundation and I think modalities to help people get started and really show them the light, show them the way so they can get out of this. Because I think it's something that's really affecting a lot of people.
Yeah. Well, great. So for you, the listener, as you're listening to this, Justin and I might actually be meeting in person, because in mid-August of 2024, our alcohol-free lifestyle leadership clients are all meeting in Cherry Creek, Colorado, which is a suburb of Denver, for a 3-day meetup. And our leadership clients are those who have gone through Project 90, have gone through Beyond 90, and they're at least 1 year alcohol-free. And I've just invited Justin to come and spend some time with us, possibly go on hiking, come out for a dinner, alcohol-free dinner, or come to the Saturday event that we're having there. So I'll look forward to seeing you in person, Justin. It'll be great to meet you in person as opposed to just talking on a screen like we have since 2020, right?
Yeah, it'd be great to finally meet. Yeah, I'm excited. Looking forward to it. And, we're speaking with you and the others that'll be there. I think it'll be great, and just reinforcing to the whole movement that we're, both a part of.
Justin Rounds, thank you so much for sharing your time with us today. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for having me, James.